The only reason why they would go into renegotiate and possibly do a lockout would be they don't like the TV deal. They don't like their split. They don't like these other two things that are part of it.
But as a player, you don't want the NFLPA representing you if they're keeping important information from you.
What can you do about that?
The best players don't show up to fucking games.
But that's not going to happen because they're not going to get paid. And these guys aren't willing to risk their money for the fucking league. It does suck that we can't get fully guaranteed money, but we're not going to fucking sit out. I'm not going to not make my $30 million this year because fucking Joe Blow didn't get guaranteed money. Not a fucking chance.
Welcome to the Real OShow. I'm Zachary. Joining me as always, my partner in crime, my brother Joshua.
On today's episode, we break down the court documents proving NFL owners colluded and what it means for the league. Enjoy. They paper getters, they want money more than they want fame shit. I swear we go so hard, we on A-list. I see my niggas prevailing. He going hard for the hand. We gonna stack that we jaded.
This is a great interview. They doing their thing.
Joshua, the NFL might actually be in trouble. So there was a 61-page document that was exposed by a guy named Pablo Torre. He's a former Sports Illustrated, ESPN journalist, and I had no idea of the name until I saw a picture. I'm like, oh, I've seen this guy before. So essentially, he just exposed the NFL and the NFLPA for essentially hiding a colluding effort by NFL owners to keep contract guarantees down. So what they called it as market discipline. The NFL Management Council reached out to the owners about, hey, after Deshaun Watson signed his fully guaranteed deal, they were like, we can't keep this up. Like, we cannot do this, which obviously then screwed Lamar Jackson. So the NFLPA essentially was trying to show the jury, the court, whoever's in charge of this. Obviously, they're probably paid by the NFL, so
they are.
You're kind of going up against a gauntlet at that point to ever win. But they showed compelling evidence that the owners and the NFL Management Council were colluding together to keep the market guarantees contracts down. Even though they provided compelling evidence, they still obviously lost. And because they provided compelling evidence, the NFL and the NFLPA agreed to keep it confidential. So players, staff, and obviously the media had no idea this was a thing until our boy Pablo Torre exposed it. So I think the NFL is in real trouble because the players got to be looking at this like, what the fuck?
Well, I think for the first time in a very, very, very long time in the NFL, you actually see some of the power going to the players. With NIL and these guys coming in already millionaires, it allows them to hold the cards a little bit, being like, all right, I'll go back and play another year of college football, where some billionaire will pay me guaranteed money. I think in football especially, the first contracts being fully guaranteed to me seems fair because the average NFL player plays 2.5 years of football. So I think guaranteeing that first contract that really isn't that much money in the grand scheme of things.
But that's just for first-round picks, get the guarantee.
Exactly. But almost everybody, if you're drafting the first 4 rounds, you should get a fully guaranteed contract. Look at Shedeur Sanders. The motherfucker signed for $4.1 million. Does it really hurt that team to give him that fully guaranteed money? Absolutely not. You're only really going to miss on the first rounders that are already locked in to get guaranteed money. And again, you're still not going to lose that much money, especially if you're talking about quarterback or a real star position. I just think that NIL is kind of changing everything for everyone, where everyone's like, I don't need to go to the league. I can go, and it's not just football. Same with basketball. Same with all these other sports. I don't need to now go. You know, Texas Tech paid a girl $1 million to play softball. If they're paying $1 million to play softball, imagine what if you're an actual dog in a real sport would get paid.
Well, that's the whole theory with Carson Beck, who's at Miami, who will probably go undrafted next year, who will never play in the NFL. But when first-round pick, he might not get drafted.
Or third or fourth.
He might not get drafted.
He might not start by week 7.
But anyways, the whole theory of NIL and the NFL is that if you're not good enough to play in the NFL, you want to play in college as long as possible. Carson Beck's making $5 million this year.
He should try to stay there for 10 years.
He's making Shedeur's contract in 12 games. So the whole theory of the power is with the players, yes. I do also think, we've talked about this before, Shedeur Sanders, that was a straight colluding effort by the owners. That was to send a message like, hey, Shedeur is a good player, but he's not this generational can't-miss type player. Because if you're a can't-miss player, you can do whatever you want. Deion was going to the NFL Combine and was like, oh, you're not picking in the top 3? Well, I'm not going to be there for you. He
were
only picked
arrogant.
3. Shador tried to do that, and they were like, whoa, 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 whoa. 1, you're not that good. And 2, we're going to make an example out of you.
Well, no, there was arrogance there. There was arrogance from Dion and Shador. It was pure arrogance from both of them because they were like, oh, my kid's going to be a top 3 pick. I got the time today. Well, he could have been a first-round pick had he been more like Cam Ward, who was humble, quiet. I think those different things are why he dropped down. It was like, do we want to deal with this personality on our team, especially when he's taken first, in the first round? Had Shador been taken in the first round, this is a totally different game. You look at him now, he's quiet, hasn't come out, barely posting on social media right now. It's because he's dialed. He has to prove something. He's a 5th-round pick or 4th-round pick. I can't really remember. One of those late-round picks, but he has to prove himself. Had he been a top 3 pick, he would be like, look, this was already written. God did. Like, that's some shit that he would have said,
Yeah.
So I think that this is good. But like I said, for Shador, for example, just to show you how the contract doesn't even matter, he already made $14 million from selling his jerseys. That's how much money he's made. $14 million.
He gets that, or like
Yes,
total
that's
sales,
it.
$14
No.
million?
His royalties were $14 million. It was in the hundreds of millions of dollars of jerseys he sold. And let me tell you something. Those jerseys ain't even there yet. They ain't even made yet. And he's already got that much money. So that's pretty impressive. And it does show that, you can make money other ways if you're an actual star, but that's the 1% of the 1% in the NFL. Most guys are getting 0 jersey sales.
Well, I think this whole thing that happened with the NFL and the NFLPA, it's going to reset the players' union. Like, you got to get rid of everybody in the players' union. If they're keeping that information, like, hey, we've found evidence that the owners are colluding to keep the market down, what they called literally on a PowerPoint slide market discipline, you can't have them fighting for you as a player if they literally are keeping things from you.
But to me, it's almost like the NFLPA and any PA for that matter is they work for the owners, but their job is to keep the owners in check. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, the NFLPA, the players are paying into that. The players are paying money
Of course.
to be in that union. But with that being said, they still have to do stuff with the owners. They're still working for the owners. The owners have the ultimate say. The owners are the ones that got all the money. So no matter what, people are like, oh, it's in the players' hands. The owners hold all the power at all times. And the NFL, your career is so short that it is the next man up mentality. And that's why you said they don't want the guaranteed money. They don't want the guaranteed money because, like you said earlier, you got to play if there's no guaranteed money. And guess what? If you want, the NBA has this problem where their stars don't want to play because they hold all the power, and the NFL wants the opposite of that. They want guys playing hurt. They want their best product on the field.
Well, what hurts it the most is that Deshaun Watson got the fully guaranteed deal and has been absolutely awful for the Cleveland Browns. It's not like he went there and was just the best player and was a top 3 quarterback, because he was a top 3 quarterback with the Texans.
I don't know.
No, Joshua. He was a top 5, top 3 quarterback. Every team in the league, unless you had Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow or a Josh Allen, would have traded everything for Deshaun Watson.
But I don't think
there's a reason the Browns were like, yes, you just sat out a whole season and potentially have a sex addiction. Yes, we'll give you a fully guaranteed deal, $230 million. And there's a reason why no one else will ever get that besides Deshaun Watson, because he went there and sucked.
Can we agree, though, that the Cleveland Browns are a riddled, horrid organization? So you can't look at me and say every organization would have done this, because every organization would not have given him $240 million guaranteed. They wouldn't have, because there was other teams that were trying to trade for him that were like, yeah, we like him, but he's not that good. And I think Cleveland is a shitty organization, and that's why this happened. And it did. It hurt everyone else. Everyone should look at Deshaun Watson and fucking hate him, because he ruined it for a lot of other people.
But that's what I'm saying. He shouldn't have been the first one to get it. But the fact is he was, and Patrick Mahomes couldn't get a fully guaranteed deal. We already know Lamar Jackson couldn't get a fully guaranteed deal.
But my point
the
is,
Deshaun Watson deal then hurt Russell Wilson when he went to Denver. Like, there's so many things and moving pillars of like quarterbacks who have actually earned it, who can't even sniff close to a guaranteed deal.
Deshaun Watson was never, and I mean never. I've never looked at Deshaun Watson's early Houston, Texas stats, but I have watched him play. He's never been on the level of Lamar Jackson. He's never been on the level of Patrick Mahomes. He's never been on the level of Josh Allen or Jalen Hurts or any of these other 10 other quarterbacks.
He was better than Jalen Hurts, Joshua.
How many playoff wins does he have? 0. How many fucking...
You actually know he has 0 playoff
I know
wins?
for a fact he has 0 playoff wins.
I mean, he was also with the Houston Texans. Philly's been a historically great franchise. Like, you can't compare that. Like, it's completely different. Culture's everything. Like, he literally turned around Houston Texans to be relevant. Of course he did.
Did he do that? Did he make the Texans? What did the Texans win? How did he make them relevant?
They were relevant. They had a top 5 quarterback.
Dude,
the top 5 quarterback. Deshaun Watson was a top 5. Joshua, for you to say he wasn't a good quarterback and some team gave him $230 million guaranteed is ridiculous. Like, yes, the Browns are a bad organization, and other teams were definitely giving him competing offers.
Teams will go all in on quarterbacks, being like, he could be our guy. Let's do it. Like, there are very few quarterbacks in the league that can help you win. And for a second, Deshaun Watson, they thought could be that guy. I look at C.J. Stroud. Everyone saw C.J. Stroud after his freshman year, after his rookie year, and they were like, this guy's a top 5 quarterback. This guy's a top 5 quarterback.
But that
this next
happens
year he
every
comes
year.
back, he wasn't a top 25 quarterback. So again, Deshaun Watson could have had a couple of good years in Houston that no one watched, no one really cared about, and then they were like, oh shit, he is pretty good. And then when he actually went to a new team, signed his contract, he was a dud, like he most likely always was. He just had a flash in a pan.
Listen, if you can do it for a couple of years, it's more than a flash of a pan. And I think in the NFL, we already do that a lot, where people will come in and have 8 good games and be like, oh, he's the next up. And yes, they did that with C.J. Stroud. They'll do that with Jaden Daniels is getting the same treatment. And I think Jaden can actually be really good. But once again, it is 1 year. Until you can do it for every single year consistently and be a top quarterback, that's what we're looking for. But Deshaun Watson did kill all quarterback contracts pretty much going forward, and that's what started this NFL and NFLPA debate. And then this obviously exposed the ruling, which I think, Joshua, as he's looking up some Deshaun Watson stats, I think this is going to cause the next NFL lockout, actually.
Well, I'm glad that I looked this up because Zachary couldn't be more wrong when it comes to Deshaun Watson. When I look up his stats, now let's all be honest with ourselves here. He played 4 years in Houston, okay? Never played a full season. Never once did he play a full season. The highest completion percentage he ever had was in his final season, which was probably his best year outside of his second year in the NFL, where he had a 70% completion percentage.
Yeah.
That was the best year he ever had. He threw for 4,000 yards that year. He had 30 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. That is the highest he's ever played, best he ever played. That year, he also ran for 3 touchdowns. That was the only year that he even had a halfway good year.
But he's also hitting his stride year 4. That's good. That's when you want a quarterback to hit his stride.
So in Deshaun Watson's best year, his 4th year, obviously, and again, I'm not disagreeing with you when you say that's how you want your quarterback. In his 4th year, you want him the best year he's ever had. I do agree with that. And again, Deshaun Watson from this year was showing good promise. But again, when I say that, he hadn't played a full season in his NFL career. That's already a red flag. That already makes me be like, I don't want to give this guy guaranteed money when I know for a fact he's never played a full season. And to this day, he's never played a full season in the NFL. But I will say his passer yards were number 1 in the league that year. And that's why everyone was like, oh, he's that guy. But outside of that, if you look at every other year, it's not even close. Like he's barely in the top 8. So that's where it's hard for me, and that's where I go back to Cleveland Browns being a riddled, horrid organization for giving a guy who's never played a full season, to give a guy who's never played in a fucking playoff game, to give a guy who is riddled with injuries fully guaranteed money is probably the dumbest fucking thing you could ever do in your whole entire life. Whoever that GM was, whoever that coach was, is probably long fucking gone, but idiots.
Regardless, I do think this starts the next NFL lockout because the NFL...
It's too far away.
What do you mean? It's too far away?
The lockout. It's probably too far away. The players,
like the CBA, well, you can't have a lockout before the CBA is finished. Why do you got to wait till 2031 till it's done?
Yeah. So basically, what I just read was the NFL has a opt out potentially in 2029 if the league is still growing and they're like, we're fucking unbelievable numbers. What they're gonna do is they're gonna opt out in 2029, which means by around 2030 to 2031 they could have a new TV deal. Right now, I think it was like 111 billion over 11 years. They're making like 10.9 billion dollars a year off the TV deal. The only reason why they would go into renegotiate and possibly do a lockout would be they don't like the TV deal. They don't like their split. They don't like these other two things that are part of it, but they are only going to negotiate when it comes to the TV deal because that's where the money is. If they're making $10 billion, that means the players get like roughly 5 of that. So they want that fucking money.
Yeah, but as a player, you don't want the NFLPA representing you if they're keeping important information from you.
But what can you do about that? Because the players are
the best players don't show up to fucking games.
But that's not going to happen because they're not going to get paid. And these guys aren't willing to risk their money for the fucking league. They're like, all right, yeah, it does suck that we can't get fully guaranteed money, but we're not going to fucking sit out. I'm not going to not make my $30 million this year because fucking Joe Blow didn't get guaranteed money. Not a fucking chance.
Patrick Mahomes doesn't show up to training camp, doesn't play week 1. You don't think the NFL
Mahomes,
is like, all right, let's talk.
No, Patrick Mahomes is a billionaire. He owns 5 professional sports teams. He don't really give a fuck. He's like, let me win a couple more Super Bowls. Let me have fun with the boys. Throw a couple sidearm passes. He don't give a fuck, bro. Why does I'm sorry, but like Patrick Mahomes does not give a fuck that Lamar Jackson didn't get fully guaranteed money.
I'm actually glad you said that because that's been my whole theory this whole time about the NFL is the highest paid players know exactly what's going on. They don't really give a fuck, and they're paid that much to not say anything. And the only people who actually care are the people at the bottom. To where if you speak up, they'll just fucking get rid of you or kill you, whatever. Any way to silence you. And that's my whole thing is that the NFL is truly the WWE or the circus, where the best players, hey, you're gonna get 35, 40, 50 million dollars. You know exactly what's going on. Just don't say anything. And the money's good. It's gonna hit your account every 2 weeks, and you're making fucking $40 million. You're like, man, it's not that big a fucking deal.
No,
the person who cares is the dude who's fucking on the 10-day fighting for his life every week that can't say shit, but he actually knows what's going on, and he's actually getting fucked over by it. That's been the whole theory this whole time.
That's always the thing. It's not just for the NFL. Insert every fucking place ever in the history of work. You know what I mean? The guy at the top who already worked his dick off already got there. He's like, hey, I don't got to do this shit.
But the NFL is definitely doing it the worst. The
100%.
NFL treats the players the worst of any sports league, period.
I don't know about that. I wouldn't say the worst.
The worst.
I don't know.
The
about
worst.
That. You could there maybe. I'm not saying no because I think the NFL is run like the mob. The NFL is a current mob that they will do whatever the fuck they want. Not only are they the mob, they have political ties. They got fucking everything. They can do everything. They have the richest, most powerful people under their shield.
Every team has multiple independent investigators that I think are truly watching their best players 24/7.
100%. I forget who I was just watching. They hired an investigator just to they're DJ Academics. So this is not even NFL. We're talking about like a podcaster, DJ Academics.
You're talking Rock Nation ties?
So Rock Nation hired investigators to figure out who was running his DJ Academics TV account. And they were basically like, if this motherfucker posts one more thing, we're going to get him. Like basically told DJ Academics, we're going to kill this guy if he does not shut the fuck up. And then DJ Academics called me and was like, hey man, should probably chill out. They know exactly where you live. They just sent me your address. So if you think Rock Nation can do that, what do you think the richest motherfucker on planet Earth can do? They can do whatever they want. They know what your mom had for dinner last night.
But Rock Nation might actually be as big as an NFL owner.
No.
You don't think?
No, because I think it's just split. I think it's split at the top. I think a lot of these NFL owners are I just think they have more money. They're more liquid. I think there's more money in NFL than in a record label. I just think there's way more money.
But Rock Nation's everything. It's players. It's record
divided,
label.
Though. But those things are
TV.
divided. Those things are divided. They are splintered. Where the TV don't really fuck with the record label. The record label don't really fuck with the athletes. Like even in our company, the athletes ain't rolling with the fucking regular people. Those people got their own shit. And I mean, listen, I've tried to hit people up on our company and be like, yo, dog, we work at the same company. You know, get me in with this guy. And they'd be like, fuck off. I don't care. So that's in our own company. And I'm not saying Rock Nation's like that, but it's very similar. These guys are like, cool. We're at the same place, but the place has thousands of employees. We don't really give a fuck. We don't know you. So that's my take on it. But 100%, NFL is the mob. The NFLPA is getting paid by the mob, but pretending to be the good guy. That's how it is. That's how all unions are. Look at the top of every union. There's one person who sits at the top who literally does nothing but get paid and shake hands with all the bad people. That's his job.
And the NFL allows him to be there.
Exactly.
Because they know he's manipulated and they
Who
probably
do you
have
think
dirt on
hired
him.
them?
Which is exactly what happened to Lloyd Howell Jr., who was the executive director to the Players Union. Guess what? 61-page document leaks. He gets blamed. Oh, yeah, this dude was going to the strip club and business expenses with the players, spending $4,000, paying cars to wait outside the strip club for 8 hours. That's why he got not fired. Strongly encouraged to step down.
I'm going to be honest with you guys. If you go to Tootsie's and you only spend $4K, bro, dude didn't do nothing. Bro wasn't even having a good time for $4K. That's like the most luxurious strip club in the world. $4,000, what'd that get you? A lap dance? Dog.
They probably had a nice meal.
Dog.
They probably got some fish sticks and some steak.
He brought players. Like they were in the document. They literally were like, he brought players to the strip club.
But players love the strip club.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying that it's a normal thing.
Yeah,
they obviously are doing it. They just were like, oh, we can get them for this. That's what I was saying. We said this on our last podcast. We were talking about guaranteed contracts. The problem is when they put these stipulations in there, they can just get you for anything. Yeah, it's fully guaranteed, but if you do X, Y, and Z, we take it away. Same thing with Buddy. It was, you have fully guaranteed, but if you do get caught, you're the fall guy, and we are going to blame you for it.
Well, what happened was the document got, it's just like anything where everything's cool till it's not. That's why when these things come out and they're like, oh, Lloyd is, a scumbag or a sex addict. Like, how could you go to the strip club and business expense it? He's probably been doing that from the beginning. The person before him was doing that. The players want to do it. Like, that's been happening for a long time. Until you wrong the NFL, a.k.a. the owners, then the shit gets exposed. It's exactly back to Deshaun Watson, what he was doing with the massage people and his addiction. That was known across the whole NFL. Teams, coaches, players all knew it. But once you're like, I'm not playing unless I get a fucking fully guaranteed deal, guess what the Houston Texans are? Well, we're going to leak everything we know about you. It's cool till it's not, and that's exactly what happened with Lloyd. Not a bad person, but probably paid off by the NFL and probably has a nice golden parachute of a couple $50 million probably waiting for him.
I mean, he knows all their secrets, so he definitely got paid out on the way out. That's why he didn't get fired. He got strongly encouraged to leave with a bag of money in his hands and was like, okay, I'll keep your guys' secrets for another couple years.
Forever. Yeah. Or he will go missing.
All right, I want to transition here. We've already been talking about the NFL, but I want to talk about a player that went from an NFL Pro Bowler to an FBI agent. In 2017, Charles Peanut Tillman retired from the NFL as a Pro Bowler and went immediately in to be an FBI agent. He's known for being a lockdown corner that spent 13 seasons in the NFL, and during that, he created the patented Peanut Punch. He has one of the most forced fumbles in all of the NFL. I think he still holds the record for most in a single season. But in 2008, his daughter had some issues, had to get a emergency lung transplant, and it kind of like changed his life a little bit, just made him look more outside of like, oh shit, there's more to life than football. So he started to try to be like, I want to serve my community. So during his football career, he was also going to school, got a criminal justice major, was doing a bunch of different things. In his final season in 2015, he was playing for the Carolina Panthers, the team that actually made it to the Super Bowl. Right before the Super Bowl, he gets hurt, can't play in the actual game. So he starts kind of being like, fuck, what am I going to do with myself? After the Super Bowl, immediately registers to be in FBI training. Not even a year later, he was already done with all of his FBI training and was considered a special agent. There's no specifics on what he does, obviously, because the FBI is very, under lock and key. But he said he wanted to do something in counterintelligence or cybercrime. But I say all that to say that Charles Tillman might have the wildest retirement in NFL history. I've never seen anybody be like, I just played 13 years in the NFL. Now I'm going to go be an FBI agent and catch some bad guys.
I think it's good for the whole NFL. I think people need to understand when they leave football, that you're in your 30s, in your 20s, you're really young. You got a whole life to live. I fully respect it.
Like for a guy like him, he definitely made enough money to not have to be an FBI agent because he's probably only making like what, $250,000 a year there.
Yeah, but it's like, what the fuck are you gonna do? It's the same thing that I tell our fucking parents. I'm like, what are you retiring for? What are you gonna do in retirement? Like, you need something to do to occupy your mind. Like, just sitting on a beach with your fucking toes in the sand. Like, bro, it's not good for your brain. You need to be active and doing something. I respect it. And Peanut Tillman was a stud.
Yeah, he was a stud.
I hated when he was on the Bears. I hated when the Lions had to play him. He was a real hooper.
He has one of the greatest highlight films. I only know that because I watched his highlight film to watch the Peanut Punch. There's a guy who clipped every Peanut Punch he ever did in the NFL, and it's like a 35-minute video. It's pretty impressive.
I had this thought the other day. I don't think the FBI is as important as people think. I think it's smoke and mirrors.
It could be.
I think it's smoke and mirrors. I don't think they do shit.
I mean, it really could be that. I also think that the CIA is probably more like the badasses than
Oh,
FBI.
CIA is everything.
Oh, yeah.
CIA is everything. I think the FBI is like, you know how, because I'm doing a video on the ruling we just did with Pablo Torre and how he exposed it. The management council of the NFL is this third-party system that's like the shield of the owners.
Yeah.
The FBI is the shield to the CIA.
For sure.
That's how I think about it. That's why I feel like Peanut Tillman could get to the FBI and it's kind of known. Like, people who are in the CIA, you don't know they're in the CIA. You have no idea. We have no idea who's in the CIA.
Well, I was
know
also
somebody that's in the CIA?
No, but
no one fucking knows that.
But I was also thinking that, you know, how the CIA, how the FBI, how all these like counterintelligence agencies work, they recruit you at a young age. And I'm assuming that Peanut Tillman was recruited at a young age and they were like, hey, go play in the NFL, go do what you want to do, but after you're done. I'm telling you, because why else would he be like, you don't just wake up one day and be like, I'm going to be in the FBI. I think someone came to him in college and was like, hey, you'd be a perfect fit, super athletic, super smart, can do all these things. I'm just saying, listen, maybe this is Hollywood shit, but Burn Notice, one of the greatest TV shows all time. My mom put me onto it, but it's about this guy who was a CIA agent and he gets burned. So basically they out you and then you're basically fucked. You basically get killed.
Yeah, people are trying to kill you. Yeah.
Exactly. So, but when they tell his backstory, they came to him at like 13 years old in high school and they were like, hey, you know, your mom's a drug addict. Your dad is gone, abusive. They know how to pick the right people that are like, this person's going to learn. They're easy to learn. They're easy to manipulate. They're easy to do these things, but they will do shit to the extreme ability. And again, Peanut Tillman, when you watch this guy play, you're like, fuck, this guy was a dog. So I'm like, maybe they recruited him a long time ago and they were like, you can play in the NFL. Maybe he was doing intelligence work in the NFL. Is it that crazy for him to be an agent in the NFL, just trying to find things about billionaire owners, about players?
Definitely not about the owners. It'd be about the players, if anything.
Because here's my thing. You know, they always talk about like hip hop. A lot of these guys are FBI informants and shit. Why is it that crazy that a professional athlete couldn't be that same thing?
I like that theory, but it's definitely not. He's definitely not finding information about the owners because those owners are probably friends with the FBI or the FBI already knows everything possibly about them.
I'm just saying
it would be more about the players. You know, what players selling pounds of drugs. You know, they got the low on something like that would be more so the thing. So you could get me on that theory. But I still think my whole theory about the FBI is that they are the shield to the CIA.
Staying on the sports trend, I have another great sports story. In 2014, two brothers got paid $800 million not to own an NBA team. Ozzie and Daniel Silna, they were the owners of the Spirits of St. Louis of the ABA. In 1974, they bought the team for $1 million, predicting that the ABA and the NBA would merge. Well, 2 years after buying the team, the ABA did merge with the NBA. The only problem was only 4 ABA teams were allowed to be absorbed into the NBA. The Nuggets, the Pacers, the Nets, and the Spurs, which left the Spirits and the Colonels with nothing. So the NBA offered both teams $3 million to fold. Kentucky accepted the payout, dissolved. But the Silna brothers, they had a completely different vision. They knew they could get more than $3 million. So they negotiated $2 million up front and 1/7 of the TV revenue from the 4 ABA teams that joined the NBA forever. Initially, it just earned a couple $100,000 per year, but over time, the NBA popularity exploded and so did their payout. By 2014, they were making $20 million per year and already had earned $300 million total. But in 2014, the newly appointed NBA commissioner, Adam Silver, had something to say. He had the NBA buy out the Silna brothers for $500 million, which brought their grand total to $800 million to not own a team. But this is where things get crazy. Had they not sold, they literally would have crippled the NBA. With the new TV deal they signed, they would be making over $1 billion a year. In 2024, they signed a $76 billion deal over 11 years. They'd be making $1 billion a year from it, which as of right now, from that 11-year contract, they would have made close to $10 billion. Now, the only problem with that is they would have crippled the NBA. The NBA wouldn't be what it is today because they would have just took too much money from them. So my question is, if you were the Silna brothers, would you have sold to Adam Silver or would you have crippled the league?
No, you sell. Like, it's the same thing where it's like you own a foot in the stocks. You sell. If the stock market crashes, you lose all your money. So it's like you definitely sell. You take the money. You take the $500 million, $800 million total, $500 million from Adam Silver, and you go fucking do something else.
I mean, $1 million into $800 million is crazy. Plus, the Silna brothers are old. One of them already died. I think Daniel had passed away. I think they were kind of like, let's not hold the league. We already got our money. We got our thing. Let's get out of here. But I'm surprised. Like, I thought the Silna brothers should have negotiated that into an expansion team because that was in 2014. You know what I'm saying? I think they could have.
I was thinking that whole time when you were talking about that is Will Ferrell was semi-pro.
Yeah.
That shit's real.
No,
semi-pro is real.
Semi-pro was based off of real story. Like the fact that only 4 teams get it. If you actually watch semi-pro, it is the Nets, the Pacers, the Nuggets, and the Spurs.
Like that was a real life story.
No,
the Flint Tropics almost were an NBA team.
I know. The Flint, Michigan Mega Bowl, dude. That actually makes that story so much better. And I think that's why Will did the story, because it was a real makeshift of what happened. I think in that story, Will Ferrell is technically one of the Silna brothers in a sense, because if you actually watch the show, they're like, "Oh, Jackie, we got you a thing in the end." Like he is part of the NBA. Like he's like part of like one of the commissioners.
Yeah, I think he joins like the executive board and something.
So
like
it's
all
like
that.
In a sense, kind of very similar to what the Silna brothers did. They were obviously owning the TV rights, so they didn't have any say. But when you had that much money, you had that much power.
But I have one more thing off that script. That Kentucky owner has to be fucking kicking himself.
Huge.
Oh my God. That dude was pumped to get that $3 million, and that dude was sitting in his fucking man cave like, the fuck did I just do?
See, when I did research on Kentucky, because I thought the same thing, that team was so down bad that they were already ready to lose their ass. And I think the owner was just like, "Give me my money, get the fuck out of here."
Yeah.
Let's call this what it is.
Desperation.
It was desperation because, and I also think that the Silna brothers had the idea because they bought the team knowing that they might go through this. Like they bought the team being like, we know the ABA and the NBA are going to merge. We know they're not going to take every team. So if they don't take our team, we're going to do this.
Yeah, and there's some court costs probably with that, where if the Kentucky owner was down that bad, he probably couldn't afford the court. And then it's like, try to go to court and can't afford it, then that deal turns from $3 million to like, here's $500,000. You know, so you might lose out. But if you made it this far, drop a like, leave a comment, hit subscribe. Till next week, peace.
About to get all this dough. Me and no fuck niggas know. I swear to God, we the ghosts. This ain't the story they told. Man, if you know, then you know. I never had to tell my dogs that we on rough for greatness. They paper getters, they want money more than they want fake shit. I swear we go so hard, we on A-list. I see my niggas prevailing. We going hard for the hand. We gonna stack till we jaded. I just told my niggas that we on a mission. Yeah. It's gonna be hard to get it.